Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your response in the previous video. Thank you for your feedback. I'm always amazed by your suggestions, your comments, your likes, and thank you so much. The other time, for those who know, of course, we did part 1 in my educational background, and this time we're going to cover the part 2. Yeah, so I'm going to go straight to it. And yeah, I got the admission to go to Singora Girls High School. It's in Elgeyo Marakwet County, and yeah, for me it was really a dream come true. I was so excited. I went to the school. My fees was paid, and we did some shopping. I was so excited to go to boarding school, and yeah, reaching there, my dear, okay, I was just shocked. I found people from different counties, like in Kenya, and actually many were from boarding schools, and they were speaking very fluent Swahili and English. And for me, for my case, okay, considering where I was coming from, I couldn't speak the language fluently, so I was intimidated at first. I was scared. I remember even my deskmate at the time used to tease me like, wow, you girl, you're silent because you can't speak Swahili fluently. She used to make fun of me, but anyway, I took my time. I was silent. I didn't know how to speak well, but with time I was able to really speak well the language. I forgot to mention earlier that since mathematics was really giving me a challenge in school, but when I applied, I became extra serious when I went to that public school, Manyata Primary School, and I was actually able to get an A in mathematics when I got my KCPE result. So when I joined Form 1 again, maths, I started failing again in maths. I don't know why. I started recording E's, and my dad actually made fun of me. Was like, what is the use of the A that you got in KCPE if you're going to get E's in high school? And it touched me so much. I was like, wow, I need to do something. So anyway, I went through Form 1. I was still that average student. I was around number 50s out of 100. I think we were 140 something at the time. And yeah, Form 1 went just like that, and nothing big. I was just trying to integrate, and I was able to fit in. I think in Form 2 I had started getting used to the school. Yeah, I would miss home of course a lot, but it was okay. I continued like that, and in Form 2 now is where really things turned around for me in a bad way. It was a start of a nightmare that I really is just crazy till date. I just can't imagine it. In this Form 2 I started okay, as a girl, it reaches a stage where you grow, you start experiencing some things that you don't experience before. I know you guys understand what I mean. I don't want to go to in details. Anyway, at this stage I started developing a certain kind of itchiness in my skin. My skin would just be so itchy, and then it could actually, the problem could start, most of the time it would be at night. I would just be feeling that feeling of scratching myself, and it could really be so bad that it could affect my sleep. So it really used to affect my sleep to an extent that the next day in class I would be dozing. Like most of the classes are in most of the lessons I would be dozing off, and it continued. So I actually went to see the school matron, or was it the school nurse, and they would tell me it's an allergy. They would give me some ointments, and my dear, the problem could just come recur again after I finished using the ointment. So it reached a time that we went to the district hospital, and in that district hospital they told me that it was the same thing. It was an allergy, and I needed to just apply an ointment. I felt like these guys were not understanding me so much. I felt like there was something probably that they needed to look into, but they were not doing it. So it affected me. I would again think too much. Like, okay, I was like, okay, God, really, I was able to come here again now. This problem, I would really ask myself too many questions. I would ask myself, why is it only me who really has to go through problems? It was hectic, guys. I know some people may think it's not something big, but it was hectic. If you can lack your sleep and you have to go to class, people are expecting your performance at home. It's really nasty. And I when I went home, I explained to my parents. My dad would be like, "Oh no, that's adolescence. You're growing." Anyway, my mom could take me to some herbal medicine, get some herbal medicine. It didn't help again. And then even the matcha would actually explain how bad the situation is. And actually, I remember at times I could cry in front of my dad. My dad would be like, "You're just making drama." And I felt like no one understood me. That was the time I started thinking too much. I was just on my own, just imagining things, like asking myself, like, why is this? Though we were not good, and we were not good enough financially to access, some dermatologists or anything. So the problem went on the whole of Form 2, guys, and I was feeling so bad, and my grades started dropping again. And actually, I went home, and coming to the third year, Form 3 now, the problem was still on. It was still continuing, just the same thing. And this was now the time that I was alarmed, like I'm remaining with 1 year, like I'm remaining with just next year, and I know that if I fail, then it's a recipe for it's a recipe for destruction. Anyway, why I'm saying that is because when my dad told me that, when I was in primary, actually, my dad used to tell me, like, "Girl, if you don't do well in school, I'm going to..." Okay, let me shed a light first. Back home in our village, people used to go to get circumcised and marry early. Some, of course, not everyone. It was those people who used to practice those traditions so much. And he told me that if you don't pass well, if you don't succeed in school, you're going to, after Form 4, you're going to you're going to get circumcised. I'll marry you off, and yeah, you go. And it scared me so much, guys. That was a scare to me. Passing really in high school really meant a lot to me. So in Form 3, I just closed my eyes. I remember telling myself, even amid this problem and everything and challenges, I just have to forget about everything and focus with school. And that was when I actually, I started working hard. I remember I started doing math very seriously. I had been told that I should do daily for me to be able to be good in math. And yeah, I remember that time in Form 2, I was really able to improve so much. I remember in the same Form, Form 3. I remember in the same Form 3, I got a present of a biology book because I was top 3. I was number 3 at the time. One time, by the way. It was really competitive. The school was really competitive. But then I kept on. By the way, I kept on working hard in Form 3. The problem was still going on. To Form 4, the problem was still there. But then I really, really overlooked that and worked hard. And in Form 4, I did my KCSE. KCSE is the national exam after high school here in Kenya. And I did my KCSE, and I went home. At home, I was just praying, God, that I hope I'll pass, because I had remembered all the threats that my father had given me, and I had no option but to pass. Anyway, when I was waiting for the results, my dad was like, "Now we're going to know if you are studying in school or you are playing." That was a scare. Believe me, it was a scare. I was just like, God, please, I need to pass. And when the day of announcing the results came, my dad asked for my index number. I couldn't send here. You have to send your index number to a certain code, and that's how you get your marks. I didn't have the courage to do it, so I gave my dad, and then he went ahead to he went to town with it, and then he was going to send it himself. So after staying at home for some time, I was uncomfortable, and I was like, I need to go to town and know my results. What were my results? And I was sure that my dad would get the results and on time, and because normally he's among the first people to send. And yeah, I went to town. Sorry guys about the noise. I went to town and I found him. They had not really released the results, so I went and waited at a certain place. And he had, of course, promised me that we were going to celebrate if I had passed well. So when the results were out, he came and he looked at me and was like, "Girl, I thought today we were going to celebrate." And I was like, oh my God. And yeah, it meant I failed, and I was scared. But at the same time, there were some people with him, and then he went ahead and showed them, like, oh, look, these are the results of my girl. And people were excited, like, wow, this is amazing. And wow, to my surprise, I had passed well. I had an A minus. And wow, I was so happy because I had an A also in math. Like, it was almost like a miracle. Anyway, I prepared for it, so it wasn't a miracle. I was so excited. I thanked God. My dad finally was able to celebrate. But anyway, that marked my high school life. For anyone out there who is going through school, I will repeat this again, and you are going through probably the same challenges that I went through, the same problem, or even another kind of problem that is worse than that. I just want to encourage you that from someone that has gone through that, just keep pressing on. Believe me, there is just the light at the end of the tunnel. You guys, thank you so much for listening to me. Thank you for viewing this, and I really hope you were inspired. This is just the journey through my of my educational background. We're going to do amazing things in the next videos. Please, guys, make sure you just continue. You subscribe if you've not subscribed, and wait for the next video, since in the next video, by the way, I'm going to explain how I was able to get the scholarship to go and study in Algeria. And yeah, it will be exciting. I will tell you guys how it was going to Algeria and my life there. So you guys, thank you so much for your support. God bless you.